Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going over today's MLB main slate for today on DraftKings. Before we continue though, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, really appreciate that. We're almost at 700, so that's pretty awesome. So thanks to all of you who like and have subscribed and watch all the videos. I really appreciate it. And yeah, anyway, let's get into the cheat sheet. Oh, also if you want the hitting model and the pitching model and access to the cheat sheet at all times, just hit me up on Twitter. It's easier that way. So then you'll be following me anyway. You can always say hi or ask me a question or whatever. I'm at cpen_16. I can just put that in the comments below. Anyway, let's get into the cheat sheet. So SP1 today for me, it's really just a mixed bag of these three. I like mixing them up. And you can spend up for pitching today. I know I have 3 high-priced pitchers, but you can do it today. There's a lot of value, and I think that's the safest way to go. I really don't like any of the cheap pitchers at all. And there are some nice high-priced bats I like, but I'm going to prioritize pitching, I think, first, just because, bats are a little bit more, variant. There's a lot more variance to bats. So anyway, let's talk about Charlie Morton first, 10,500. He draws the best matchup of the slate versus Miami. They have a 27% K rate, 2 righties, .089 team ISO, and 263 WOBA. So those are just the lowest of the lows in the league. They have no power at all, and they strike out a lot. And he owns a 30% K rate himself, and he's just a good pitcher. I like him. He doesn't allow a lot of hard contact, and Miami doesn't have a lot of power at all. So I think he's in an awesome spot today, and I think he should be a little bit lower owned than Sale as well. So speaking of Sale, 10,800. I think he's gonna be pretty popular tonight, and he still really might just be underpriced with his recent form he's been in. He had 40 points the one game. That was either the last game or the game before, but 4 really good starts in a row, racking up the strikeouts. I mean, the velocity hasn't been up there as much, but he's getting the swings and misses back, and he looks good. And the Rockies would never really scare me outside of Coors. I usually like using righties versus them because of Arenado and Story, but I still think he's gonna be okay. I mean, he's gonna neutralize Charlie Blackmon at least, David Dahl, those kind of guys. So definitely Chris Sale. I'm gonna ride with the hot hand here, and I think he's gonna get the win. Kyle Freeland's on the mound for the Rockies, and he's not very good. I can see the Red Sox scoring some runs as well. And then Caleb Smith, 9,500. If you can't tell, I'm spending up on pitcher tonight. Smith's been awesome this year with no less than 6 strikeouts in a game. I don't really like using ERA as a stat, but I'm just going to throw it out there. He's a 2.11 ERA this year. He's been awesome. And, he's racking up the strikeouts. And I like targeting lefties versus Tampa better than righties because that neutralizes guys like Austin Meadows, Ji-Man Choi, Brandon Lau, those kind of guys. So I do think it's a good matchup, and I definitely like Caleb Smith tonight. And also, if you want a cheaper option, I should just say I don't mind Luke Weaver. He's been okay. I mean, it's not my favorite play, but if you make a lineup and you have 8,800 salary left, I don't mind Luke Weaver. I don't think he's going to destroy your lineup, but it's not the best matchup. Pittsburgh doesn't strike out a lot versus right-handed pitching, so I don't know. I just think he's an okay spot. But I definitely like these 3 guys a lot. Then at catcher, we have Robinson Chirinos, 4,300. If you can fit him in, he's the best catcher play. The Astros are implied over 6 runs tonight, and the Detroit pitcher, Carpenter, that's up. He's bad, and the bullpen is bad. So if you can afford him, he's an awesome play. He's got power. And then where I'm going to go tonight, it's Martin or Martin? I don't know. Maldonado, 2,400. Really, I'll just play anybody with the bat in their hands versus Shelby Miller. He's really, really bad, and I don't mind Maldonado. He's actually kind of solid for his price. He usually gets on base at least once a game. And then Yasmani Grandal, 3,900. He's projected to bat cleanup versus Eichhoff, who really struggles with lefties and allows a lot of hard contact to them. And the Brewers got a lot of lefties on their team. And then at first base, Matt Carpenter is leading the way for me, 3,700. I know he hasn't been great this year, but it's only a matter of time before he heats up. Chris Davis, I said it's only a matter of time for him to heat up last night, and he's cheap, so we're going to play him. And what do you know, he double donged, so I could see Carpenter. I don't think Carpenter's going to double dong or anything, but you never know. And you always want to target Fulte with the lefties because that's where he's going to struggle more. Then Ryan O'Hearn, 3,600. He's got a 304 ISO versus righties, and that righty's going to be Shelby Miller tonight, and I love the spot for him and the Royals. Then Tyler White, 3,400. It'd be a good way to get exposure to the Astros without breaking the bank tonight. Righty on lefty matchup. And then second base, Whit Merrifield, probably one of the best plays tonight, 5,100. I can see him being really popular because he's second base eligible and outfield eligible as well. And I said it's tough to afford him, but if you can, it's an awesome spot for him versus Miller. And I think you can afford him even if you go high at both pitching options because as you're going to see here soon, we got some really nice value spots. Then Robinson Cano, 3,500. really, I just love playing Cano a lot versus righties. He's always cheap and hits decently high in the order, and he's just a solid guy. So don't mind using him. And then Mike Moustakas, if you got a little bit extra salary, 4,400. I already said I like the lefties here versus Dykhoff. And then Alex Bregman, 5,500. He's on fire. It's another great matchup versus a lefty. He's got elite numbers all around versus them, and he's probably one of the top plays from a raw points perspective. He's just been awesome. I really like Alex Bregman a lot. Then Matt Carpenter, we already went over. And then Travis Shaw. Here's probably one of the best salary saving options today. He's probably going to hit around 6th, 7th. Big boost if he's hitting 4 or 5 for some reason. I don't think he will be, but if he is, I mean, that probably almost makes him a lock for cash games. Really, all he needs is a hit and a run for value, and he's got some power. It's going to come at some point. Like I've been saying, I like targeting guys that their price is really suppressed, but they have powers, and they're going to break out eventually. And I want to be ahead of, the the masses of that. So I want to get them before they get hot and before their price goes up. And so I don't mind Travis Shaw at 2,400. That's just really cheap. I mean, we were playing Chris Davis early in the year when he was around 2,000, and eventually he broke out, and he went like 10x one day. So kind of the same idea there. And then shortstop, Adalberto Mondesi, 5,300. It's an awesome matchup if you can afford him. He's got the speed and power upside, really just the same reasons as Merrifield, but he's a switch hitter, so he's gonna get the lefty on righty matchup versus Miller. Then Carlos Correa, 4,900. Just another Astro I like versus Carpenter. Don't really need to go in depth there. Then Brandon Crawford, 3,100. Thornton struggles versus lefties, and Crawford is dirt cheap. So I mean, I get it. I would try not to get down to that low to him, but if you can't afford the other guys, I do like some other guys in the shortstop position. I just put my top 3, so I don't mind if you want to use another different guy. And then high priced outfield, George Springer, 5,800. Him and Alex Bregman are probably two of the best plays from a points point of view. He's been on fire and he's facing a bad lefty, so I mean this is just screaming another leadoff home run for him, because that's what he's famous for, really. And he's got a lot more power versus lefty as well. Then with Merrifield, we already talked about. Then JD Martinez, 5,300. I love him anytime there's a lefty on the mound, and he's one of the best in the league versus them. And Freeland does not scare me at all, so don't mind JD if you can get to him. And then I do think I don't have a lot of Red Sox listed, and I think the Red Sox should be lower owned tonight with some of the other options we have if you can afford the Red Sox stack, which you probably can't, but I'm just saying. And then the mid-range outfield, Chris Davis, 4,000. He's going to be really popular tonight. He came back from the dead with a double dong last night, and when he gets hot, he gets hot. He just starts hitting bombs. I like his chances versus Leak tonight, and he also has better power versus righties than lefties anyway. So, people, they were late to the party last night. If they didn't play him, they're going to play him again. He was like 45% owned last night, like 29% in GPP, so I can see that getting close to 60% in cash tonight. And then Alex Gordon, 4,800, just facing Shelby Miller. And then Nick Castellanos. He's got great numbers versus lefties, and he's always a threat to homer versus them. I know he just did recently. I think it was on Sunday. Then the mid-range value outfield, we have Max Kepler, 3,800. He's leading off, and he's got a 208 ISO versus righties. And Nico Goodrum, 3,400. Just really the price, and he's leading off. Steve Pearce, 3,200. I could see him getting some ownership today. He hits lefties well, and people are going to want cheap exposure to the Red Sox. And then Marwin Gonzalez, 3,200. They refuse to price him up. He's kind of getting the Stevie Wilkerson treatment here, but he's been doing very good, so I don't know why they're not pricing him up. And he was chalked last night, and he homered, so I could see him being high-owned again today. So yeah. And then, if we go over to the core plays, I have Chris Sale as of right now, because he's probably going to be a little higher owned, so it's kind of like more of a cash play. But I do like him and Morton. I mean, I don't know if you can afford both in a lineup yet. I haven't really made a lineup yet, but definitely like all those pitchers. I just mix and match them. Sorry. And then Martin Maldonado, 2,400. He's just so cheap, and he's facing Shelby Miller. I can see him being very popular tonight. Then Matt Carpenter, 3,700. I like him at either first base or third base. He's multi-position eligible, so I can see that boosting his ownership again as well. Then with Merrifield, another guy that's position eligible multiple spots, but he's in a good matchup, and he's a great spot versus Shelby Miller in that Texas bullpen. So I think he's an awesome play tonight. I didn't see very much impactful weather, so I don't think there's anything to be worried about that. And then for the top stacks right now, I have the Astros, the Royals, and the Brewers lefties. So anyway, guys, that's all I have for the video. Remember, if you have any questions, you can comment below. And you should also follow me on Twitter at cpen_16. Hit me up on there as well. And remember, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and good luck today.